What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video, and we're going to talk about how everything's an Xbox. So, Xbox, Microsoft started this new initiative when it comes to Xbox, that everything's an Xbox. Your phone's an Xbox, your laptop's an Xbox, and people are freaking out, even though they've been doing this for like 7 years now. They've been going this route. Obviously, more recently with the mobile stuff, and that's one of the reasons they bought Activision Blizzard. They said it because they wanted to get more into mobile with King. So people are losing their minds, and I partially understand it. And I think Microsoft is probably making a mistake. They're almost there, but they're off on one instance. So their premise is, everything is an Xbox. We want no barriers, no walls to keep customers from playing their games. And people are like, well, you're just a third party, company at that point. And to some extent, that's true. And for whatever reason, Microsoft has kind of been pushing away from that. But I think they could salvage some of that if they made the decision to not do every game, as far as being on competing consoles like Nintendo and Sony. You could still do your PC thing, everything on PC, great. But I think certain franchises should not be in consideration when it comes to being on the competition's hardware. There should be red lines, and Phil Spencer recently said there are no red lines. I think that's kind of stupid, because if everything's an Xbox, then nothing's an Xbox. You ever hear that saying that if you try to cater to everyone, you're catering to no one? That is pretty true, and I think a lot of longtime Xbox fans feel betrayed. And you could still do what you want to do, Microsoft, and not hurt your core audience. Your core audience is where the momentum happens. You can look at something like the Wii U. The core audience, while the Wii U didn't sell, astronomical, the game sold really well, and that core audience kept that system going, even if it was only for 4.5 years. Your core audience is your mouthpiece on the internet. It is your free marketing. And, casuals come and go. There's no loyalty when it comes to them. But your core audience is always going to be there to help you. All right, this is the baseline. This is going to help us. We can jump off from this. We know we're going to get this, so we can jump off from that. And that's what Nintendo did. Nintendo thought, or they expected to rely on the new Blue Ocean customers they got when it came to the Wii. They were, those guys are definitely going to come over to the Wii U, and that did not happen because they are not in it for the culture. They're not in it for the brand. They just, this is a thing that's popular right now, I'll buy that. They're not going to be there every time you need them to be there. Your core audience will. And so cultivating a core audience is a good idea. You don't want to go too far and get too close and buddy-buddy with them. I think Microsoft has made that mistake as well, which hurts them when they're doing this new initiative. I don't know why they would be surprised by some of the backlash. Now, like I said in another video, there's just this unmitigated hatred for Microsoft. They get blamed for everything, even though other companies were doing these things before them. Your EAs and your Activisions were already doing a lot of these strong-arming tactics. Look what EA did to, or tried to do with Dreamcast. And they hurt Dreamcast because they didn't want Sega to have their Sega Sports line. They only wanted their sports games on Sega, and Sega said, no, we got this really cool company here that's putting out some cool sports games. Competition is good, right? No, EA didn't want competition, so they didn't put any of their games on the Dreamcast, sports or otherwise, and that hurt the Dreamcast. and that was despicable. And companies, again, they didn't even have a console. They did stuff like that. And Activision did strong arming tactics as well, and PlayStation certainly did when they came out. But again, for whatever reasons, they do not get the amount of flack, narrative wise in the industry when it comes to what they've actually done as companies. They get away with it because people like their games more. I guess that's what it is. But Microsoft came out swinging with this beast of a console with the hard drive. That was something really new that we all appreciate now, but we don't attribute it to Microsoft, even though yes, they are the ones who put a hard drive in your console. So all this memory card nonsense didn't have to happen, and they could do other cool things, like. As far as like bigger worlds and all that kind of stuff, Microsoft started that, and they should get credit for that. Also, the Ethernet port. Everybody else is doing dial-up modems, and Microsoft said, nope, Ethernet or bust. And they pushed that. This console is friggin' heavy. And it had all the bells and whistles of the PlayStation, but it didn't have the brand recognition. And the controller kind of sucked, and it was big and bulky. They got it right with the second one, the controller Type S. But they came out with really solid games. The original Xbox has a great library, but they barely sold better than GameCube. And then they came out with the 360. Came to market early to try to beat the competition, and they did. But the console was definitely rushed, and so the build quality wasn't great, and you got the red rings of death. It wasn't until this version, I think, maybe the Elite, the one before this model. This is an Elite too, I think, but this newer model, the old model with the faceplates, Elite, I think pretty much solved for the most part. Still you had some red rings here and there. But they sold 84 million units, but they lost so much money with how, they had to replace all those red ring consoles. So they never really got their footing, even though they got the market share and the mind share. The money share wasn't quite what it should have been. Great console, both of these, but the original Xbox and the 360 were great consoles with a lot of great software. But Microsoft always tried to do this other thing. They always wanted to be the TV hub, and that's not where their future was going. They missed on that stuff, trying to be the hub of your living room. That didn't really work out well because people more and more wanted to do things on the go. And that's why your iPads and your iPod or your iPhones and all that stuff started to blow up, because people wanted to do things away from their traditional television setup, and they wanted to. That's where the future was going. And Microsoft is trying to get there now. And by the way, they're doing it, and Sony is already copying it. People don't remember that leak where Sony was talking about we got to get more games on PC, and we got to get more stuff on mobile, and with the cloud. And they're already doing that now with the PlayStation Portal, which now you don't even need a PlayStation 5. You can access games from the cloud directly through the portal. Like, that's a big thing that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. Like that's what Microsoft has already been doing. They've had their setup with Game Pass on PC, on mobile. They're just getting that going better, and there's no kerfuffle when it comes to Sony doing that, which is weird. Now, console sales are down across the board. Obviously, there's the spike when it comes to Switch. But I already talked about how Switch is not a traditional console, and that's why it's sold so well, because it is a handheld gaming console. So Microsoft wants to tap into that as well. They're making their own handheld at some point. I was surprised it's years away. I thought it was a lot closer than that. But they already have gaming handhelds out there because of Steam Decks and ROG Allies and Legion Goes. They already have stuff that you can play Game Pass on. Just their games. You can just access their store and play only their stuff if you want to do that. Obviously, if you just want to buy a one-off game here and there, you can do that on PC and now on PlayStation. Now, this is where I think they fail, this initiative. I think they were going to completely lose their identity and really, lose their core fan base, which everybody I think you need to have. You need to have pitchfork fans who go out there and go to bat for you, because that's where you grow out of that. Just expecting people to play on your stuff because your stuff's everywhere, that's not how it works. You need identity, and PlayStation is maintaining their identity by not putting, at least right now, their big games. I mean, obviously you have stuff like MLB The Show, which they were pretty much forced to do by the MLB, on other consoles, and then they have like that Lego game, Lego Horizon, which they weren't going to sell many copies on the PS5, so it only made sense for them to put that. Is it on PS4 as well? I don't know, but for them to put that on Switch. But no, Microsoft, you can't have it. And that's like, if they do that, I know Microsoft doesn't care; they just want the money. But again, you have to have an identity of some sort. So you want to sell Game Pass, right? You want to sell Game Pass, but you're going to put your games everywhere. You have to give people an incentive to play or to want Game Pass. You have to have. This is something you can't get anywhere. Just the value alone is not enough. Just having cheaper games. Ask Epic. Epic is throwing games at people, giving them away, and their store is not even scratched the market as far as gaming stores go, or PC gaming stores go, because Steam just it offers more. It has a core audience, core fan base that it caters to, and it offers more because of the OS. So you got to do something to if you want to sell Game Pass, you have to give something. You have to be some exclusive stuff on there. Yes, it's great value, but you're not great at really showing the people that. You're not really great at marketing that it's a great value. And two, there's a huge audience of people that just hate anything you do. So you got to win over people by having great exclusive content. Yes, put everything on PC. That's fine, because for the most part, PC gamers and console gamers don't really mix. But when you put your game, you talk about putting Halo on a PlayStation. That is the core of who you are. That is the game that made your company. Why would you put that? That's like McDonald's saying, "Oh, you don't have to come to McDonald's for a Big Mac. You can go to Burger King. We're gonna give our Big Macs to Burger King. We're gonna make more money." But I think in the long run you're gonna lose out because you don't have that exclusive thing that only we have. And the idea of, I know people, mostly PC gamers are like, "Oh man, exclusives are anti-consumer." Exclusives are what make business. A guy comes up with an idea that's exclusively his, and he says, "You have to come to my business to get that thing." I'm not, sometimes they'll sell it, everywhere or whatever, because it makes sense for them. But it's their core thing. It's their thing. And if you just put it everywhere, as a company that makes multiple things, it's different. Oh, I made this. I'm a designer, and even designers do that. They exclusively sell their stuff at certain stores, right? Because they get good deals on that, and it's what makes them a core company. So I understand why they would do that, and I think they need to keep that core to continue being, different in the market, or you're going to lose everything. You're going to lose your core. You're going to lose your identity. So, yeah, that's my take. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think exclusives are still a good thing to have? I do. In certain ways, like I said, PC fine, but giving your games to your competitor doesn't make a lot of sense. So, yeah, that's my take. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you again for watching and listening, and I'll see you folks next time. Peace out.